Jacob and Samantha are going too?
Yeah. I talked about going to France the other day and he said, we want to go too. But Jacob is a company employee and doesn't have that much money yet, does he? And Samantha quit her job when she got married.
That's right. When I met before payday, he said they ate cup ramen for all 3 meals. That's not good for their health, is it? I made some dishes for them at that time, but it was still a little tight because it was a week and a half until payday.
Yeah, that's right. I was worried too, so I asked if he had enough money. But he said it was okay.
Really?
Anyway, I think we'll have to book our accommodations together, so I'll pay in advance and get reimbursed later.
They're not going to give you the money, are they?
I think it'll be okay. Mom was there and she kept telling him to give it, so I'm sure he will.
Despite what he said, I was worried. Given the history of Jacob, I couldn't say for sure whether they would actually give the money or not. Jacob, my husband Michael's younger brother, and his wife Samantha got married a year ago. They had been dating since high school and attended our wedding together. Jacob's first impression was that of a cheerful and friendly young man. However, as I got to know him better, I began to question his words and actions. Shortly after I got married, I brought some leftover food to my mother-in-law. Since my in-laws' house was about a 30-minute drive away, I often brought food over like this. When I visited my in-laws, my mother-in-law was out and Jacob was there.
Oh, hi Sophia. Mom went out shopping for a bit. What's up?
I brought some leftover food from last night's dinner for Mom. I'm sorry to bother you, but could you give it to her?
Huh? Really? Sure, I'll give it to her.
Thanks. If you want to eat some of it, feel free. But make sure you give some to Mom too, okay?
Got it.
I handed the food to Jacob and left my in-laws' house, but I couldn't help but wonder if he had actually given it to my mother-in-law. Afterwards, when I called my mother-in-law because I hadn't heard from her, I found out that Jacob had not given her the food. When I explained the situation, my mother-in-law confronted Jacob. He confessed to eating it all and was scolded by my mother-in-law. I had a feeling that something like this would happen, so I didn't say anything, but things like this happened frequently. Even though we would buy souvenirs for Jacob when we went on trips, he would eat the ones meant for my mother-in-law. Despite being warned by my husband and mother-in-law, he would repeat the same behavior, and it seemed like everyone had given up on him. I was worried when I heard that Jacob was getting married because he was like this. And Samantha, his wife, was quite different too. Jacob and Samantha had been dating since high school, but I didn't actually meet Samantha until shortly before they got married. It wasn't a double date or anything, but my husband and I went on a drive with Jacob and Samantha. Then the women and men split up, and that was the first time I talked to Samantha properly. She looked flashy, but I had the impression that she was obedient and a good girl. However, she talked so much that I got tired just listening to her.
Sophia, what did you see in your husband?
Huh?
I honestly don't understand marriage and stuff. Does anything change from when you're dating?
Well, in our case, we started living together after we got married. Until then, we both lived with our parents. It was the first time for both of us to live with someone else, so our lifestyles were different at first, and it was a bit frustrating.
Oh, I see. I think Jacob and I have similar values and lifestyles, so I think we'll be okay.
That's good to hear. Then maybe it'll be okay.
Oh, and have you ever thought about getting a divorce? And what do you dislike about Michael?
It had only been 2 years since we got married, so when she asked about divorce or what I disliked about my husband, I thought she was asking something crazy. But getting angry here wouldn't be very adult. I haven't thought about either of those things. I've never thought about getting divorced, and I don't think there's anything I don't like about him. Well, if there's anything I dislike about him, it's probably how annoying he is when he's drunk.
Oh, I see. I might have misunderstood you, Sophia.
Huh?
I thought you were after Michael's money or something. He makes a lot of money, right? Jacob didn't say anything, but I thought you might be after his money. I thought I would do the same if I were you.
Just when I thought she was going to bring up divorce, she said that I might have married for money. I wasn't so much angry as I was surprised. I never thought she would ask me something like that. Still, I got through the situation and later met up with my husband and Jacob. Because they were not yet married, I was worried about Samantha and whether it would be okay for her to marry Jacob. However, I am just a sister-in-law. I could not have made my husband oppose their marriage. If the young couple was attracted to each other and fell in love, I thought that was fine. Afterwards, the two got married. However, the celebratory mood was short-lived. A problem arose a few months after they got married. One day, when my husband came home from work, the atmosphere was a bit tense. I thought something had gone wrong at work, so I spoke to him calmly. At first, he said nothing was wrong, but he explained what had happened after seeing me looking worried.
Actually, Jacob called me today. I couldn't answer because I was at work, but when I called him back, he said it's over. It's really bad. I didn't know what he was talking about, and he seemed to be panicking, so I thought it was serious and listened calmly. When I asked him what was going on, he said he had borrowed money.
What do you mean by borrowed money? Did he gamble or something?
He said it was for car repairs, but I don't know if that's true. He's only been working for a few years, and Samantha is also a part-time worker, so they don't have much financial leeway. That's why he asked me to lend him some money.
I see. What are you going to do?
I'm married too. I told him I'd talk to Sophia and then get back to him.
My husband always tells me before making a big purchase. We decided to keep each other informed even though we both work. We still report to each other frequently. But lending money to someone was a first for us. I'm fine with it. If Jacob and Samantha are in trouble, we should lend them some money, right?
Are you sure? Then I'll tell Jacob tomorrow. Thanks, Sophia. I will have Jacob contact you tomorrow too.
Okay. And so Jacob borrowed money from my husband. The next day, Jacob called to apologize. Of course, there was no problem because I didn't lend him any money, but I thought the car repair was suspicious. The reason for this is that I met Samantha last month, and she asked me to pick her up at the station because her car was being repaired. And the car that needs repair this time is Samantha's car. Is this really happening? I decided to ask Samantha about it later.
Thank you so much for the other day, Sophia. We really appreciate it. Jacob keeps saying how much he appreciates it every day. We're really grateful.
That's okay. It's more like Michael lent you the money, so I didn't do anything. Tell him that when you see him.
Of course.
By the way, was it your car that needed repair?
Yes, that's right.
I see. But hasn't it been repaired recently?
Huh?
When you came to my house the other day, you said your car was being repaired and asked me to pick you up at the station. It hasn't been that long since then, so I thought it was strange that it needed repair again. As soon as I said that, Samantha's face clouded over. Sweat dripped down her forehead. She looked like she was in a hurry. Then Samantha started answering as if she had thought of something.
Oh, yeah. The engine suddenly wouldn't start that time, so I had to take it in for repairs.
What about this time?
Well, it got a flat tire. And the front and back tires both got flat. And oh yeah, the engine oil was changed.
I see. It's tough that you just had maintenance done and then had to deal with this.
Yeah, it really is.
At that moment, Samantha clearly looked like she was trying to cover something up. She probably didn't actually have the car repaired this time. There must be another reason why she borrowed the money. But I couldn't say that Jacob had tricked my husband into giving him the money. He's just borrowing it. There shouldn't be a problem as long as he pays it back. As of now, several months have passed. They are going to France together. That's why I was worried about whether they have enough money or not. They haven't even paid back their debt yet, so there's no way they have money to spend on luxuries. Well, even if they did, they should pay back their debt first. I told my husband about it.
I thought the same thing. But Jacob said he could pay off his debt next month.
Really? How?
It's bonus time next month, right? Jacob seems to have done well this time, and he's getting a pretty big bonus. So it seems like he has a prospect of paying off his debt. That's why he wants to go to France together. Is that okay?
I'm fine with it, but... Are you sure he has a prospect of paying off his debt?
I don't trust him 100%, but it seems like he's prepared for the travel expenses this time, so I think it'll probably be okay. Just in case, I've paid for the accommodation in advance, however they'll have to pay for their own plane tickets. If they do anything weird, we'll leave them in France.
My husband was joking, but I was a little worried. Do they really have enough travel expenses? They've been late on their payments before. I was skeptical if they could pay off their debt next month. On the day of the trip, Jacob and Samantha arrived at the meeting place as promised.
Nice to meet you today.
I've never been to France before, so I'm really looking forward to it.
Oh, Jacob, can I talk to you for a second?
Huh?
I paid for the accommodation over there. We'll settle up when we get there.
Oh, okay.
His reaction was clearly suspicious. After boarding the plane and sitting in the assigned seat, my husband fell asleep. He had been working late until the day before. It was natural for him to be sleepy. I was reading a book even after takeoff. While doing that, I got sleepy and fell asleep for a while. After about 2 hours, I woke up to the voices of Jacob and Samantha behind me. We bought separate tickets, but they ended up in the seats behind us. Listening to their conversation, it seemed like they were really looking forward to their trip to France. I could hear their cheerful conversation from where my husband and I were sitting.
I wonder if Michael is okay. He looked really sleepy.
Maybe he's just tired? I asked Sophia earlier, and she said he was working late last night.
That's right. I slept for a full 8 hours yesterday.
Haha.
Samantha giggled. I tried to talk to them, but I overheard a conversation that made me stop.
By the way, when Michael said he would settle up earlier, you didn't deny it, so I was surprised. I thought you could pay.
There's no way I could pay. If I had that kind of money, I'd be using it for something else.
What are you going to do then? Michael said he would settle up.
Well, don't worry about it. I have something good. Ta-da! What's this?
Is this a credit card? But you don't have a cash advance limit, do you?
Look at the name carefully.
Oh. It's Michael's name. So this is Michael's. Why do you have it?
I borrowed it while Michael was in the bathroom. I've seen him withdraw money a few times, so I know the PIN number too.
But won't you get caught?
It's okay. I've only seen the statement once before, but even if I withdraw about $700, I'm sure it won't be noticed.
Wow, you're committing a crime. What will you do if you get caught?
I'll say Michael said I could use it when he was drunk. So when we get there, I'll make sure Michael drinks a lot. Then we can cover up the settlement.
You're amazing, Jacob. You've thought of everything.
Right? Let's enjoy France today.
Hearing their conversation, I was horrified. Even if they were brothers, Doing something like that was tantamount to being a criminal. My husband had trusted Jacob, but he had betrayed him in this way. I couldn't forgive him. I was thinking about how to punish the two of them. I definitely can't forgive them for what they did. So they need to be punished properly. I thought about it until we landed, and I came up with one idea. If this method works, they won't be able to return home. So this is a good way to punish them, I thought. First, after arriving in France, we went to our accommodation to drop off our luggage. Before that, Jacob disappeared somewhere. He probably went to withdraw money. Of course, my husband tried to settle up there. Jacob easily paid for their share.
Wow, you really had the money.
Of course. I wouldn't have come if I didn't.
He replied with a laugh. I was glaring at Jacob, who was lying boldly. Next, we headed to dinner. But before that, we decided to take a break in our respective rooms. Jacob's plan would be to first get my husband drunk and then have him ask Jacob to withdraw money. So I decided to tell my husband about this incident before we went out. While I was telling him, he occasionally widened his eyes in surprise and checked his balance on his smartphone, realizing that money had been withdrawn.
I can't believe he did something like that.
I'm sorry. I should have noticed it sooner.
No, it's not your fault. That guy. I'll never forgive him. I'm going to Jacob's room right now.
Wait. Even if you get angry, Jacob will just apologize and everything will be fine. Why don't we lock them up in France?
What? How are we going to do that?
First, I told my husband to stop the credit card. Then I called Jacob and Samantha and told them that I wasn't feeling well and that they should go eat something together. Jacob replied positively and said they would enjoy France. It seems that they still don't know the situation. After a while, Jacob called my husband. My husband put his phone on speaker to listen to the conversation.
Hey, Michael. Something terrible happened.
What's wrong?
Well, actually, I seem to have lost my credit card. I ate a lot at the restaurant, but I can't use my card.
Oh, I see. That's tough.
I have a favor to ask. Can you lend me some money? I'll definitely pay you back when I get to America.
When you get to America, you'll pay me back? Is that why you lied to me earlier?
What? No way.
Did you even have a credit card in the first place?
Well, I made one.
When? What brand? Stop making excuses. I know everything. You have my credit card, don't you? And the money you paid earlier was cash advance from that card, right?
Why would you say that?
Sophia heard everything you and Samantha said. You're acting like a thief.
Oh, Michael, I'm really sorry. I was going to pay you back right away. Besides, our honeymoon was domestic, and I wanted to go abroad at least once. Unlike you guys, we're not rich.
So what? Does that justify stealing? Stop trying to justify yourself. You can't just say that you didn't have money and that's why you committed a crime. Even if a thief like you has a good time, the victim like me will remember that the memories of that trip were stolen. This trip to France was something that Sophia and I had been looking forward to for a long time. And yet, you...
Oh, Michael, I'm really sorry. Anyway, can you lend me some money? We can't get out of here without it.
I see. Well, I guess I can't help it. We've already arranged to leave France and we're at the airport now. We're going back to America. You guys enjoy your trip and come back.
What? Wait a minute.
My husband hung up the phone. By the way, my husband and I just changed our accommodation and are still in France. After that, Jacob and Samantha were confronted by the local restaurant clerk and were forced to work at the restaurant to pay for the food they ate plus a penalty fee. They seem to be struggling with their unaccustomed French and are being scolded a lot. By the way, this incident has been reported to my mother-in-law. Jacob and Samantha have returned to America somehow, but they are both working under my mother-in-law's supervision and are being pushed to work without a break. We enjoyed our trip and refreshed ourselves from our daily fatigue. I was worried about what would happen for a while, but it turned out okay. I hope we can go on a trip without any problems next time.
How was this story? Please subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.